Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. It's time for another edition of This Week in Master Duel. So, we are going to, as always ever, start by looking at in-game notifications and show what has been going on lately. We are also going to take a look at, as again we always do after that, leaks and tournament results, but we're also going to throw in something new into the mix that I haven't done before, and that is we are also going to look at what's been going on in ranked ladder as far as that goes. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use the Untapped GG meta tier list, because it's submitting so many decks in and getting so much data that it really is the best way to analyze what's been going on with the tier list. And as an aside, if you are interested in downloading that companion, there's an affiliate link below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, it's free. Highly encourage you to check it out there. But in any case, let's go ahead and start off with the in-game notifications. There's actually been quite a bit that's been updated here in Master Duel within the last week or so. So we got a new solo mode that is going to be the Mayakashi one, Scheming Creatures in the Ghost Meets Girl Gate. So another free 200 gems for those of us who are really grinding those solo modes to get all the gems. I know I'm always maxing out all the in-game gems I can get. I can't quite call myself free to play, but I've definitely greatly minimized the amount of money I've spent on the game by rocking out all these solo modes. So always nice to see another one added in. Same with the new Effect Failure bundle. Very nice to see these staple bundles in. Even if you're like me and already have a playset of Effect Failure, this is still a pretty good deal. Master packs, while they're not ideal to buy at full price, 750 gems for 10 of them plus a guaranteed UR is a pretty good deal. So if nothing else, it's a way to get some UR craft points, and that is definitely why I purchased it as well. We had some new accessories added for those of you who really like wind type stuff, or I guess just the color green. Not really my color personally, but I do think this duel box looks pretty cool, so that's neat. We got a new secret pack as well for the Vernu Sylphs as well as G Golems, which is always nice to see them bringing in archetypes via the secret packs here. Cool stuff, great stuff. So, yeah, the Vernu Sylphs in particular don't see a whole lot of play right now, but with them so greatly and generically supporting the Earth attribute as a whole, I think they're bound to see at least some amount of play at some point in the future. So definitely not a bad pack to have in there. Alas, we did actually, at this point in time, are just at the tail end of the latest tryout duel, which is the TCG regulations, basically the TCG ban list. So, yeah, it was a couple days ago at the time that I'm recording this, and definitely by the time this video goes out, that it ended. A lot of people very, very much liked it. I thought it was alright. Of course, yesterday's video was all about what I think about the TCG list, but I do think it is really cool that they did it. I think it's really neat. And I will say, I do wish, and maybe this is the case now, but I don't think it is. I wish they would have added the TCG list as a duel room preset, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Yeah, it's not. That's really a shame. They don't normally do the tryout formats in duel rooms, but I think they could definitely make an exception for the TCG ban list, right? Now, granted, you could still play under the TCG list by playing under an unlimited list, but just even any acknowledgement of like putting that in as an alt format, even just to try out in duel rooms, I think would have been super cool. But it could still happen at some point in the future. Who knows? I guess we'll see, moving forward. But anyway, that's pretty much everything that we have to talk about in client. So I'm going to start popping over here and talking about some of the leaks. Let's actually talk about the most recent leak to come out, and that's Diabellstar, the Black Witch. This card and the associated archetype / engine, whatever you want to call it, are going to be huge. Those of you who follow the TCG or OCG already definitely know how good this card and some of its support cards are. But let's go ahead and read this card, and so we can get an understanding of just what makes it so good, right? So, Diabellstar the Black Witch is a dark level 7 spellcaster with 2500 attack, 2000 defense. Hey, that's protagonist monster stats. She has an effect that states, you can special summon this card from your hand by sending one card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Wow, that's a really easy requirement. You can only special summon Diabellstar the Black Witch once per turn this way. You can only use each of the following effects of Diabellstar the Black Witch once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can set one Sinful Spoils spell or trap card directly from your deck. During your opponent's turn, if this card is sent from the owner's hand or field to the graveyard, you can send one card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. So it's pretty easy to see right off the bat what makes this so good. It's a big body with relevant stats, and also relevant typing and attribute as well for a lot of decks that can very easily summon itself multiple ways, either proactively during your turn, by sending a card from hand or field to the graveyard, or for the same cost, reactively when it is sent from the field to the or hand to the graveyard during the opponent's turn. But also, no matter how you special summon it, or if you choose to normal summon it, you will be able to gain some advantage by sending these Sinful Spoil cards directly from your deck. Now, we don't have on this page any other leaks here to talk about the actual Sinful Spoil cards themselves, but let's go ahead and take a look at some of them. I'm going to focus on the ones that have TCG printings here because I imagine those are in the first wave and the ones we'll more than likely get first, right? So one of the big ones is this quick play spell card, Wanted, Seeker of Sinful Spoils. This says add one Diabellstar monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. During the main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of your Sinful Spoils spell or trap cards that is banished or in your graveyard, except Wanted, Seeker of Sinful Spoils. Place it on bottom of the deck, then draw one card. You can only use each effect of Wanted, Seeker of Sinful Spoils per turn. So, pretty easy to see how this fits in. It's a Rhoda for the monster that cares about rotating for these cards, and it also recycles them and gives you more draws in the process. We have Sinful Spoils of Subversion Snake Eye as a normal spell card. This is target a face-up monster in the field. Place it face-up in its owner's spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. You can only activate one of these cards per turn. So yeah, another really easy reason to see why this is such a splashable engine. This is really good generic removal, and in fact, it's a really good form of removal that we haven't seen a lot yet, but moving forward is going to become more commonplace with not just this deck, but a lot of other archetypes I've noticed as well, and that is using the spell and trap zone as a means of removal. So by placing a monster in the spell trap zone, you not only dodge any effect that would benefit from it going to the graveyard or being in the graveyard for any reason, but also you can... I actually don't know if you get to place... Do you get to place it? I actually don't know. Well, it says place, so I imagine you do. So this seems particularly good against like pendulum-based decks, like a certain super heavy samurai that allows you to place a monster in the spell or trap zone, blocking the pendulum scale. Just make sure it's not an actual pendulum monster. Of course, I want to make sure of that. But yeah, very, very relevant card. Very, very good means of removal as well. Original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye is a normal spell card that says send one other face-up card you control to the graveyard. Special summon one level 1 fire monster from your hand or deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Snake Eye or Diabellstar monster in your graveyard. Add one level 1 fire monster from your deck to your hand. Then place the targeted monster on the bottom of the deck. You can only use one original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye effect per turn, and only once on that turn. So, while this is obviously support for a Snake Eye archetype that is yet to have been leaked, but will pretty obviously come up, being able to summon any level 1 fire monster is the reason why this particular archetype or engine works so well with Rescue Ace, because it can pull Hydrant directly out of the deck, which is, you know, Rescue Ace's whole main thing that they care about. So, obviously going to be very, very good. Other notable level 1 monsters off the top of my head, there's also Jet Synchron. Very, very nice. What else is there? Infernoid has a very relevant level 1 fire monster. Oh shoot, there's like one other archetype I was actually talking with someone about recently that's got a relevant level 1 fire monster that I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but I expect that Rescue Ace Hydrant will be the most relevant target. And then again, I'll be trying stuff with the Jet Synchron because it's me, of course I am. But we'll see. We'll see how else you can cook with this moving forward. Definitely going to be searching the current Master Duel pool for level 1 fire monsters, especially once these drop. And again, being a normal spell card means that you can actually activate it the very same turn you set it with the Diabellstar the Black Witch. So that's pretty neat. There's also Sinful Spoils of Doom, Rakila? ? Quick play spell card that says target a level 7 or higher spellcaster monster you control. Apply the following effects. While face up, that monster is unaffected by other monsters' effects this turn and is sent to the graveyard during the standby phase of the next turn. All monsters your opponent controls currently lose attack equal to the targeted monster's attack. Then if their attack becomes 0 by this effect, destroy them. So, wow. That's a potential board wipe on your opponent's turn for anything with 2,500 or less attack. And kind of like Slifer the Sky Dragon, funnily enough, even things that aren't destroyed by this effect are still greatly weakened by them. And on top of that, your Diabell Star will become unaffected by monster effects for that turn. And also the fact that it's sent to the graveyard in the standby phase of the next turn isn't really that big of a deal if you use it on your turn, because then if it gets sent during your opponent's standby phase, you get to just special summon this card right back out, if I'm understanding the interaction between that right. Plus, I imagine with how it's printed and, intended, I would guess that's probably how it works. Let's see, there's also the trap card Sinful Spoils of Betrayal, Silvera. It's a normal trap that says send one Diabell Star monster from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard, then target one face-up card on the field, negate its effects. When your opponent activates a card or effect in response to your Diabell Star monster effect or your Sinful Spoils, spell, trap card effect, or effect activation, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate that opponent's effect. You can only use one Sinful Spoils of Betrayal, Silvera, one effect per turn, and only once on that turn. So, pretty nice disruption on the opponent's turn, and then during the follow-up, you have a means of stopping their disruption against your Diabell Star or Sinful Spoil cards, which is really, really neat. So, I don't know for sure what all we're going to get in the first wave, but again, I imagine the ones that we went over, I think were part of the first wave in the actual TCG/OCG, and I imagine that'll probably be the case for Master Duel as well. So, I'm only going to cover those ones for now, but yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing how this archetype will not only help rescue Ace quite a bit, but also just be another good engine as a whole. It kind of feels like the same as when the Adventure engine came in for how impactful this will be. Other leaks that we have include the Infernoble Knight, as well as some new secret packs for Sprite, Tier Limit, and Vernuself. We actually already got the Vernuself one, so looking pretty likely that Sprite and Tier are going to be getting some secret packs of their own moving forward, as well as for Infernoble, a very, very cool Link 1, or quote-unquote Link 0. Well, it's not really Link 0 because it does have a Link arrow, but anyway, Emperor Charles the Great is a Link 1 that requires exactly one level 9 Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles equipped with an equip card. This card says, if this card is Link summoned, you can target an Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles in your graveyard. This card's name becomes that target's original name, and it gains that target's original effects. Then, equip that target to this card as an equip spell that gives it 500 attack. Once returned, when a spell or trap card or effect is activated as a quick effect, you can send an equip spell from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Whew, that is pretty good support for Infernobles, which is already not a bad archetype at all. But giving them a spell or trap card negate that's so easy to access in a Link monster that's also fairly easy to access. I mean, all you gotta do is make the Emperor Charles, which Infernoble, kind of wants to do anyway, and boom, you immediately get an upgraded version of it. I also really like using a Link one in this way, right? Like, a lot of times, Link ones are just small engine starters, but putting a boss monster in a Link 1 by having very, very specific requirements of exactly one monster you need to link away in order to summon it, that's really, really good use of Link design space, and I think that's really neat. Just overall, a very cool and good card. Love to see stuff like this coming into the game. We also have some older, well, relatively older leaks, about a week ago from this point, confirming, or not confirming, but leaking an alt art for Ash Blossom and A Joyous Spring. Now, funnily enough, unlike other alt arts, which have been mostly extract monsters aside from Eldritch, this is a staple deck alt art, which is actually going to be a 3 of. It's funny because I'm thinking back to pulling IP and Nightmare Unicorn and how lucky I got. Each of them I only had to spend 2,000 gems on their respective packs to actually get them. With Ash Blossom, we might not be so lucky. The other thing is, too, though, is that IP and Nightmare Unicorn came in their own archetypes. Or IP doesn't really have an archetype, but they came in pre-existing secret packs, but Ash Blossom isn't in a secret pack. So I wonder if there's going to be a new selection pack that it'll be in. If that new selection pack has a lot of good reprints that I'm interested in, then I might try to pull for a set of Alt Art Ashes, but it's going to be a lot of gems to try to get that, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it ends up playing out. Crimson Dragon. This card is going to be huge, especially for Manadium. Crimson Dragon is a level 12 light synchro monster with 0 attack and defense that has totally generic material requirements, by the way. 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuners. If this card is special summoned, you can add a spell or trap card that mentions Crimson Dragon from your deck to your hand. You can also, as a quick effect, you can target 1 level 7 or higher synchro monster on the field except Crimson Dragon. Return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, special summon a dragon synchro monster with the same level from your extra deck. This is treated as a synchro summon. You can only use each effect of Crimson Dragon once per turn. So, yeah, being able to have such a good level 12 synchro monster that's got totally generic material requirements is very, very good for a number of synchro decks, including one of the mainstays in the current metagame, which is going to be Manadium. We also are getting some TG support. TG Glaive Blaster is a level 12 Earth Machine Synchro that uses a Tuner Synchro Monster plus 2 or more non-Tuner Synchro Monsters. It's got 4K, 4,000 attack and defense. It must be Synchro Summoned, and it can, as a quick effect, you can target 1 monster on the field, special summon from the extra deck, banish it. You can use this effect a number of times per turn, up to the number of non-tuner synchro monsters used as synchro material for this card. So that's always going to be at least 2, which is a pretty good disruption effect there. Once per turn, if a monster is banished face up, except during the damage step, you can target one of them, special summon it to your field, ignoring its summoning conditions. Wow! Also a phenomenal effect. Really, really cool for TGs to get such a neat boss monster like this. And not just TGs, it's a relatively generic material requirement. I mean, tuner synchros and also using 2 or more non-tuner synchros is still a pretty specific setup, but you don't have to be using exactly the TG archetype. Synchrons, for example, could probably make this very, very easily. So, very, very cool card overall in that regard. Okay, now that we have looked at the leaks, I want to... Oh, no. We have more leaks, actually, to take a look at here. I already talked about this one a little bit in a video earlier this week, but we have a potential new structure deck, Sword of Souls. Would you believe that's going to be a Sword Soul structure deck? But no, this is a really, really good choice. I've recommended Sword Soul to newer players who are interested in playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel competitively. So for Konami to offer Sword Soul as an option is really, really cool. It'll definitely, once it comes out, give a definitive best structure deck option too, as while Sword Soul might not have any like newer cards in it right now, it is still a very highly relevant deck in the metagame. And it's the 3rd best synchro deck, which, considering how many synchro decks are out there, is very, very good standing. Also considering the other 2 synchro decks are literally 2 of the best decks in the format. So, Sword Soul structure deck is going to be very, very cool. There's a potential Bond of Duelists event coming up with the Tokyo Dome events coming up. There's a lot to read here and a lot to parse. I'm not going to bother going through it all, but basically the idea, it looks like, is that there will be friendship chains that'll kind of spread like viruses throughout the Master Duel ladder. If you duel someone with a chain, you get that chain yourself. What that means, I don't know. We'll see. The icon and sleeve leaks have already actually come to fruition in the form of the new solo mode gate. So that does lend a lot of credit to the, the Sword Soul stuff that's been leaked as well. So cool to see all that stuff there. All right, we're going to take a break from Master Duel meta for a minute to talk more about Untapped GG, specifically their ranked ladder meta tier list. Now, as I talked about in my kind of promotional video talking more about how this meta tier list works and my affiliate partnership with Untapped GG, they actually sort their tier list by win rate. You have to have the premium subscription in order to unlock the actual number itself, but I can tell you from having a premium membership myself that the threshold between A and B is 56%, and between B and C, I want to say is like, oh shoot, is it 52 or 53? It's somewhere around that neighborhood, but Yeah, so it might seem weird, again, to see Mathmech and Naturia and branded, this is branded Synchro, by the way, that's what it's different from branded Despia. It might seem weird to see these in a tier list above stuff like Super Heavy Samurai. You're probably thinking, well, that's gotta be all wrong, but no, I mean, of the decks that are submitted, these ones just do end up having a higher win rate. And really, how much more of an objective sorting can you do a tier list than by the recorded win rate? These aren't just the games that people are manually submitting, by the way. When you have the companion downloaded, it's automatically tracking every single game you play. So, and also with hundreds of thousands of games of data worth, that's a lot of data. Certainly a lot more objective data than Master Duel Meta has for Ranked Ladder. So, and again, yeah, it might seem weird to see branded Synchro above Super Heavy Samurai. You might be thinking, oh, are more people just submitting with these decks than others? But no, I mean, Mathmech has literally half as many submissions as Super Heavy Samurai. And as you can see, it's about half as popular. But despite that, it's got the much higher win rate. So, another really, really cool thing is the rank distribution here. You can see what all is getting played in each rank. And if you have Premium unlocked, you can also even sort by rank. So if you're in Diamond and you're only interested in what the ladder looks like for a Diamond, you can look at only Diamond. But I like looking at the whole ranked ladder meta as a result, or as a whole rather, because I feel like that gives the most honest, distribution of what's being played in the whole meta. So it's interesting to see Mathmech doing well, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense, right? Over Super Heavy Samurai. The thing that makes both Super Heavy Samurai and Mathmech great for Ranked Ladder meta is that they can both play a lot of hand traps, and I mean a lot. If you click here and look at the most popular cards for Mathmech, you'll see, well, obviously a lot of Mathmech cards, but if you look at Super Heavy Samurai, you'll also see, stuff like Nib, Gamma, just Droll, in addition to Ash Blossom and Maxi, a lot more hand traps, because Super Heavy Samurai can play a lot more hand traps than Mathmech. But Mathmech is still very similar in that regard, in that it can afford more hand traps than generally the average deck that's playing on Master Duel Ranked Ladder. So definitely makes sense to see those do so well, but it also still makes sense for me to see Mathmech do better than Super Heavy Sam, because a lot of people who were playing Mathmech in the previous meta, which you can actually sort by previous meta as well, here, and see, this is obviously before the, a lot of these ban list changes, so that's why there's a lot of different decks there, but a lot of people who were playing Mathmech and doing very well with it in the previous meta have now likely jumped over to Super Heavy Samurai, right? Not that there's anything wrong with bouncing between meta deck to meta deck, but that is how a lot of people just want to grind Ranked Ladder with what they perceive to be the best deck to do so. So, in order to get there more quickly and just get to Master, which, again, nothing wrong with wanting to do it that way. So, as a result, a lot of people have jumped from Mathmech to Super Heavy Samurai, leaving the people who are currently playing Mathmech as more dedicated and, as a result, likely more skilled pilots. So, again, that's why it makes sense to me that Mathmech, despite being less popular, is having an overall higher win rate. And much like Master Duel Meta, you get a nice little deck breakdown here. Looks like, still just a minority of people are actually on the Singularity. And if you actually look at some of the lists that are doing the best with Mathmech, especially within Master Rank, they have actually foregone the Singularity for the microcoder package. So, funnily enough, I always thought that Singularity was the more ideal way to do it for, for Ranked Ladder, right? Again, if we go over to view the actual decks here and go by game count, this deck with 530 games, that's got the most amount of plays here. It's on the microcoder package. Same for even the follow-up ones here, with only about 200 or so. Well, except down to this one right here. So, already this tool is like reshaping how I think about builds for Ranked Ladder. Like, I'm going to be trying microcoder moving forward because of the builds that I've seen here. So, very, very nice to be able to see what's actually performing well on Ranked Ladder there. Also, again, just very interesting to see, like down here, you'll find stuff like, Rescue Ace, Spiral, Panda Magician. These decks which are achieving a lower win rate are still achieving a solid enough win rate to be represented here on the tier list. So I just, again, like how expansive it is as well. And again, also by sorting by win rate, again, that's much more objective than honest, as opposed to people, you know, myself included, being like, well, I think this is the best deck right now because it's seeing the most amount of play on Ranked Ladder. But no, we see that Mathmech actually is. So anyway, that is looking like what the current Ranked Ladder meta tier list is looking like. Let's look at some tournaments now. We're going to start looking only at tournaments that have like a really, really solid amount of players in them. Ideally at least 50, but I'm going to start being a little bit more selective. That said, there's still tons of very relevant tournament results to look at over on Master Duel Meta, so we're definitely going to keep an eye on the big ones here on the channel, like the DK Meta Weekly, 159 participants, as always as ever. It's the single elimination bracket with best of 3. And as we see, Brandon Despia is still performing very, very well and winning out. Funnily enough, though, this Meta Weekly in particular used the new ban list, and despite Sardier being at 1, it seems that people are still sticking with 60 card builds. So that is something that I predicted would change, and doesn't seem to have been the case. So I'm very eager to see if that continues to be the case, where 60 card builds are favored, even though, again, Sardier is only at 1 copy. We got Vanquish Soul still doing very, very well in the tournament scene. Naturia Runic doing very, very well here, not only at tournaments, but again, if we look over at the Ranked Ladder meta, it is one of the decks that is performing with the highest win rate currently of the hundreds of thousands of games being submitted to the Untapped companion there. Adventure Knight, love to see the Adventure Phantom Knight, I said Adventure Knight, love to see Adventure Phantom Knight still doing well. I love this deck. I think it's really, really cool, and I think it is still here to stay as a fairly consistent meta force now that Terratop is at 3. Rather, now that people are playing it, now that Terratop is at 3. The deck has always been good, but Monadium, this is a very, very solid Monadium list here. I like it a lot. Very, very nice. More Vanquish Soul. We got Trap Tricks, which has been doing pretty well lately. Ultramarine here is bringing Tier Limit, Kashtira Tier Limit in particular. Another very solid deck, Tier Limit there. Oh, here we have Mech Knight doing pretty well. I wonder if somebody was inspired playing Mech Knight in the Theme Chronicle event, then decided to bring it to a tournament as well. Either way, good to see there. Another Phantom Knight. Wow, multiple Phantom Knight lists doing well and topping in this particular Meta Weekly. Nice to see. Got another Monadium list, finally a Super Heavy Sam list, but again, this is a best of 3 tournament format, so it makes sense why Super Heavy Sam doesn't perform as consistently as some of the other decks do. We talked about that a lot again in our best of 1 versus best of 3 video there. Still got the decks rocking the Performer 5 Rainbow Magician. See mostly Branded and Lab rocking that card a lot in there. And we have, as always as ever, it seems like Bird Up sneaking into the top 16 there. Very, very cool stuff. Here we have the China Master Duel Taiba Weekly number 73. This one had 113 players and plays best of 1 Swiss into a best of 3 top 16. Looks like Mathmech ended up winning out on this one. Not only on the microcoder package, but also Lady Debug and Code Generator as well. As the Salamangreat Sanctuary. Wow, and even a Firewall Phantom. Very, very innovative list here. Always nice to see people innovating. Alright, looks like this is... Wow, is this Invoked Branded with Kashtira? Invoked Branded Kashtira. Love it when people cook, though. I love when people cook up lists like this. This is why, like I talked about in the video yesterday when I was talking about why I didn't really like the TCG list. I feel like the TCG list just kind of discourages pile decks, which is, I don't know, something I very much like and value in a metagame. So, nice to see that there. Super Heavy Sam doing a little bit better here than it did in the Meta Weekly, which again makes sense when you factor in that the best of 1 was the format for a Swiss into the top cut. So, but actually, to be fair, to get actually 3rd or 4th place, it did have to play through best of 3 rounds. So definitely congrats to Ace for performing very well with this deck. The Denko Seka in the side is a very, very good choice in my opinion. Okay, got another Mathmech list here. This one on... Wow, funnily enough, this is on the Spirits, but not actually on Microcoder. Usually when people are playing the Spirits, I also see them on Microcoder, but not the case here. Interesting, but pretty cool to see. Flaunderies. Wow, how long has it been since we've seen them perform? With the Simorg as well. I mean, the deck has been very, very good, but it's been so long since I've seen them in a tournament top that for a second I almost forgot the deck even existed. But this is actually a 60-card Flaunderies list. Really, really cool. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Got a 60-card branded list here. I think this was also, yeah, post-ban list, as it only has the one Sarnier there. Got another Super Heavy Sam list, as well as another 60-card branded with the one of Sarnier. And yeah, one more tournament we're going to take a look at is the Cola Cup. I love this name. Cola Cup is a great name for a tournament series. This one had 84 players, and much like the China tournament series, is 6 rounds best of 1 Swiss. And again, makes sense why we see more Super Heavy Samurais performing. But again, this Super Heavy Samurai did have to perform through best of 3 to get first place. So also interesting that these lists have the effect monster Big Benki, presumably to help with the Big Benki Pendulum monster effect there. Neat. That's really cool to see. More 60-card branded. As you can see, this was post-ban list, so one Sarnier, but still seems that branded lists are preferring 60 cards all the same. This one here is going to... Is this another Invoked? That's so cool. It's another Invoked Cashier. Wait, was this the same person? I wonder. It was. It was totally the same person. Yeah, those are the same characters. Wow. Very, very nice. As you can see, this person topping multiple big tournaments with Invoked Cashier branded. They might be onto something. Again, always easy for decks like this to slip through the cracks. And then, you know, later, when we revisit retro formats, we discover that, hey, this deck was actually totally fine and capable of doing well the whole time. Neat to see. Very neat to see. I even had someone, like, I even had a comment who said in that video in the comments that, like, oh, it's a little disingenuous to think there's totally new brews that are completely undiscovered out there. I don't know. Was anyone on Invoked Cashier branded before this person topped multiple big tournaments with it? So, yeah, I think there is merit to thinking that there are completely undiscovered, even not completely undiscovered decks, at least combinations of archetypes like that. Got 60-card branded there. Another 60-card branded here as well. Seems branded with Stardate 1 is still quite a force to deal with. Kashira branded here. Oh, this is like the Visas kind of branded pile. Right. I've seen this before on like Ranked Ladder and stuff. Another tier limit list here. Doing pretty well. Got more MathMech, lots of MathMech showings this week. Not only in the tournament scene, but again, also Ranked Ladder. Might suggest that MathMech is actually better than a lot of people realize. Again, I remember a comment was saying, like, is MathMech really the best tier 2 deck right now? And it's like, I think it is. Actually, it might not be. It might be a tier 1 deck based on how it's performing in tournaments, again, on Ranked Ladder here. But alright, that's going to go ahead and do it for this week in Master Duel. So, yeah, we covered the in-game stuff, we covered the leaks, we covered the Ranked Ladder meta, and then we covered the tournament tops and that tournament meta as a result as well. Hope everyone is doing well and having a great day as we move on to the end of this video. I don't normally do that at the end of a video. I don't always save that for the outro, but why not? I do really hope you are all having a good day. But yeah, let's go ahead and just move now to that outro. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That means a lot to me. It's also a great way to support the channel, so thank you very much in that way as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways, like the very special patrons that I am thanking here, you can do so by checking out some of the links in the description. One of those goes to the Patreon, where you can join these fine folk and support the channel that way. I do post daily content over on Patreon, so you do get something for supporting there. And if you're interested, I also have a coaching tier option as well. Details again will be on Patreon in the link below. Also in the description linked below is my Twitch page where I stream a few times a week. You can go ahead and check that out, follow or subscribe over there if you ever want to catch me live. You'll also find my second YouTube channel if you feel like subscribing over there to watch some of the Twitch VODs as well as some additional non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content that I make over there. Again, any of those links you want to check out is all a great way of supporting. But again, even if you don't do that, just watching was also a fantastic way to support. And once again, I have to thank you so very much. But in any case, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, and I'm hoping you have a fantastic day.